Thanks for tuning in to Try 5 Talk with your host, Daniel, Craig, and Joe, as they spend the next hour talking with special guests and talking tech and tips. All right, we are back here live this week. We have Brad Morgan with us from Montana Garage. Brad, how you doing?
Doing well. How you guys doing? Hey, everybody.
What's happening, Brad?
What's up, Brad?
What's up, boss? Glad to finally get a chance to chat with you guys here on the show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've been waiting for this, Brad, because you and I have chatted for a little while, back and forth and whatnot. And then I think a lot of guys that are going to be watching have already seen your channel. And for those that haven't, they're going to be checking out because you put out a lot of good information for the ordinary guy, if that's a good way to say it.
Hey, I'm going to pretend like I haven't seen it before. What's your channel about?
What's it about? Like Craig said, I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm not a guy with a huge shop and a bunch of tools and a bunch of knowledge. So my thing on my channel is I'm just trying to show people that you don't have to be an expert or have done this forever and have all the fancy tools, and you can still try to do some of this stuff yourself and have fun doing it.
Hell yeah, I think that resonates with a lot of us. What's the name of your channel?
It's Montana Garage.
And out on YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube, yep. And of course I
Awesome.
got Instagram and all that stuff too. But
Brad, I'm
Awesome.
gonna start obviously Montana Garage. That's stating that you basically have your garage up in Montana. So I'm gonna step back. What town in Montana are you in, or do you not want to disclose that?
no, I'm in Belgrade, Montana, so it's southwest Montana. Most people have heard of Bozeman.
Yep.
So it's kind of a suburb, 8 miles from Bozeman, Montana. That's where like the Montana State University is. And
Okay.
Beautiful part of the state and the country. We're like 90 miles from Yellowstone Park, mountains, and all that cool stuff all around us.
Very cool. Brad, what's your, I'm gonna step back even a little farther. What's your background in? Like, what do you do for a living, or what are you educated in? What do you do?
I'm not educated much of anything. I try to get by. Oh, I'm a tile guy. I've been laying tile for 22 years or something now. So that's what I do for a living. Started out just a small, by myself. I'm by myself again now, but I've had employees, but started out just doing small entryways or whatever. And now I tile multi-million-dollar homes and resort communities up here, and anything from floors to showers to anything people want tile on, I guess.
Very cool. How long have you been in the hot rod?
I've been into hot rods as long as I can remember. I mean, my dad and uncles had hot rods and cool cars, mostly Tri-5 Chevys when I was a little kid. And I can just always remember being around that a little bit, and I can remember being like 5 years old and watching my dad and uncle's drag race down the street in front of our house outside of town where we lived down there in South Dakota at the time. And just always been something I wanted to do, and have.
Is there a lot of Tri-5s in that area? I can't imagine that being close to Yellowstone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few, I guess. I mean, I don't know what's a lot, not compared to where all you guys are from. There's just not a lot of anything around here, but there's surprisingly more than a guy thinks,
Okay, cool.
Very cool.
There's some real nice cars here in town, nice Tri-5s. The thing I guess it's just like mine. I shouldn't say much about it because nobody ever sees mine driving around because they don't drive around. But you don't see me driving around. Then they have a car show in town. You go look at all these nice cars and they all say Belgrade, Montana. I'm like, I've lived here for 20 years and I've never seen this car.
Yeah.
The cars that always hide out in the garages that you never really get to see.
What's that now?
The cars that hide out in the garages that you never really get to see except for Sunday cruises or car shows.
Yeah. There's a lot of those around here.
Right.
Well, I'm looking at your background right now. That doesn't look like much of a Sunday cruiser behind you. What is that?
So that's my 57 Chevy Delivery. And it's got a big block 427 with Hillborn mechanical injection in it.
Hell yeah.
Is that an original actual Hillborn?
It is an original actual Hillborn. So a little bit of history on that car. So that car belonged to my uncle, and he got it in the early 60s. And went through several iterations, but at some point he took it all apart and was doing this build on it. And he had diabetes and was always fighting with that. Lived at home with my grandma and grandpa, and this car used to sit in my grandma and grandpa's garage. Like I can remember going over there when I'm 8-10 years old, and I would just want to go hang out in the garage with Gordy working on his car. And he finally got it together enough to drive around the block a few times, but then he ended up passing. I mean, I guess it's been a while ago, like 2000 now. So I've had the car since then, and just trying to kind of keep it in his, keep the build that he had going for it. Like I'd be able to drive it a lot more if I got rid of that mechanical injection. But to me, that's kind of like the heart of the car. That's just something I always remember as a kid, having those stacks either on the car or sitting on his dresser in his room. And so I can't bring myself to make them not be part of the car. But it doesn't make it hard to drive. I mean, I drive it a little bit, and I want to get it on the track and actually race it, but I got a few things I need to get off my butt and get done to it to make that happen.
Well, that's what separates it from other cars, though, because you don't see the Hillborn injection old school like that very often.
Yeah. There's none around here.
Absolutely.
Sure.
What kind of Tri-5 did your dad have?
My dad had all of them, mostly 55s. He's a 55 guy, but he had a few 56s and 57s over the years too. Those were when I was really young. Like the only one I really remember is the car I have. My 55 was my dad's. But when I was younger, just a baby or before I was around, maybe he's got like a photo album full of, 55s and 57s. Like, oh, I paid $200 for this one, or I traded a chainsaw for this one. All those stories that, doesn't happen anymore, obviously, but he's had a bunch.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's good you're keeping it, keeping them in the family, and that's where you got your indoctrination to this sport or this love,
Yeah.
What besides Tri-5, what was your first fun car that you got to wrench on or have fun with? Or was it a pickup truck, it being in Montana?
Yeah. My first car that car that I got to drive to high school was a 65 Chevy short bed, 2-wheel drive, 4-speed, 3-speed, I guess, granny low. And that thing was just a pile even at that time, all rusted out, and 6-cylinder with a posi. So we'd have fun spinning around on the gravel and stuff, but didn't have enough power to, spin around on the asphalt. But
even with Granny Low, the 6-cylinder didn't have the power to do a burnout.
Oh, it probably did a little bit. I don't know, but I just remember mostly having fun with it on the gravel, sliding around and doing Brodies in the gravel parking lots and stuff.
Doing what?
Brodies. What do you guys call them? Whipping shitters or something up there?
Whipping a shitty.
Cookies, donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah, we do all that stuff too. I don't know. We call them Brodies a little bit too, I guess. But
everybody's got their own name for it.
Not sure where I got that, but that's what.
So tell us right now what's all in the stable for the guys that haven't seen the show or have paid attention enough. What do y'all got in your stable of cars?
Okay, so I got the delivery that's on my background. I got a 55 Chevy 2-door sedan, of course, because like I said before, those are the good ones, the ones with the post. And I have a 69 Chevelle that I haven't shown too much about that. That's kind of in the waiting for me to finish this 55. And then many people have, spent a lot of time on YouTube and the automotive stuff. They know that I won the DD Speed Shop 57 Chevy 4-door. So I have that car also.
I was kind of upset at that one because I sent Dan of DD Speed Shop. I sent him the sticker, which is on your car. I was chatting with him. I did everything I could and entered all my family. I'm like, God, because he's only 8 hours away. I said, I'll take that car. But I was so happy that it was somebody that we knew and, somebody that I was following in social media instead of just some nobody. So I thought it was completely awesome.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool surprise. I just entered one time and just got lucky, I guess.
No, he's got a good channel.
I like watching Dan's channel. Yeah, he's entertaining.
He's got a lot of energy because he doesn't quit on any of this stuff.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have all these kids and stuff like the rest of us got to deal with, I guess. So maybe that helps, but he doesn't have time for it.
He just keeps buying big dogs.
Yeah, he's got those for sure.
He's got big dogs. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. because I'm sitting here with rain, snow, sleet, ice, salt on the roads. What's the weather been like in Montana the last couple of weeks?
It's been pretty crappy the last couple of weeks. We had a few nice days, and then it got pretty cold again when we were down in the single digits here for the last couple of nights. And it's looking nice out there right now, but we had snow flurries again this morning. Nothing that's stuck to the ground here, but I'm working on a project that's up in the mountains at the resort, Big Sky Resort Town. You know, it's like at 8,000 feet. There's still several feet of snow up there when I go up there.
Yeah, I think a blizzard just came through North Dakota and dropped like 3 feet on parts of North Dakota. So I know they're buried.
Yeah. Somehow that missed us. We got like 4 inches of snow, but like 30 miles west, they got 3 feet. And then, like 20 miles the other way, they got a foot. And we just had a little bubble where it didn't really hit us.
Joey, you got any snow down there?
Man, it was, let's see, 74, I think, 75 today. So
Yeah,
a
I
little
had to
chilly
put-
in the mornings, but
Sounds rough.
yeah, I mean, notice the hair. It's probably got grass in it. I was out mowing the grass and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what was
That's all
happening
right.
in Texas.
No
So-
mowing going on here yet.
So Brad, I feel like I'm taking charge of questions. I don't mean to do that, guys. I got a lot of questions because I've enjoyed watching your progress, like grinding through the frame, putting in the pocket, having to fix your grind mark, things like that. I appreciate because I've done a lot of that lately. And so at the point when you decided to do, say you're 55 and you're basically doing a frame off type of restoration, going through everything. And how does did you have to pass any of this stuff by your wife or have big questions, or is she behind you on all the car expenditures?
Oh, she's behind me, I guess, but there's only so much a guy could spend, we just got, like everybody else, we got kids and other bills and whatever. So I didn't really have to pass anything by her, but I got to be careful with what I can and can't do, I guess, like everybody else.
Absolutely.
And that's obviously probably the biggest holdup why it's taken me so long to put this thing back together. But
What's
I'm having
the-
fun trying anyways.
What's the market rate on a Hillborn stack set these days?
I don't even know. I have the original receipt from, I think it was 1971 when he bought it, and it was like $635.
Back then?
Yeah, but I think they're a couple, $2,000 to $3,000 now.
I don't know about, I could be wrong, but the gentleman that I bought my chassis from, he was going with the electronic fuel injection Hillborn, like the newer one.
Yep.
And it had like 1,000 miles on it. And he was trying to resell it for like $8,000. So I mean, there's a markup on some of that stuff.
It's like $1,000 per stack.
Yeah, I've considered maybe trying to go that way on it because then I could drive it more. But like Craig just said, it's so expensive to switch over to the electronic.
What makes it hard to drive? Like what's running that Hillborn like?
Well, so there's no, and I'm like I said before, I'm not an expert. I'm just kind of learning this stuff as I go. But there's no, like in a carburetor, you got an accelerator pump. So when you go from low throttle to higher throttle, it's going to squirt some fuel in there. But this is more of a constant flow system. It's just the fuel is getting dumped in by how fast the engine is spinning. So the fuel pump is run off the crankshaft. So the more RPMs you're spinning, the more fuel is going in the motor. And
And you got different
and bypasses and whatnot. So there's
got different fuel pills that you put in, right? To change and the
kind of like
fuel
jets are called pills.
The pill works for basically that is on your return valve side, that changes how much fuel returns to the tank, correct?
Yep, exactly. So it's kind of the opposite of a regular carburetor. If you need more fuel to the engine, you got to put a smaller pill in because it restricts it more and keeps more going to the manifold instead of back to the tank.
Now, with that being in a Hillborn, is it keep enough prime to it that you can start it without having to squirt fuel down each stack? Or
no, it'll if you run it, it'll start again for 20 minutes or something. But usually when I shut it off by closing the fuel valve.
Right.
But it'll still start if you start it again right away. But I used to do the old turkey baster thing and squirt fuel down the stacks just like you're saying. Now I have a little electric pump to prime it.
Okay. Prime pump on it. Okay.
So yeah, I got another switch I hit, it primes it, and then you let that run for a little bit before you fire it. But we went to a car show.
I love the look. Yeah,
Thanks, Joey.
that's
We went to a car show a long time ago, and we were trying to start it to leave, and And at that point, I didn't have the primer pump, so I was still doing the old turkey baster. I take a turkey baster, the tank's right in front. I would dip it in there and then squirt a little down each stack and try to start it. And I would be doing that, and my like 10-year-old kids inside flipping the switches to start it. And people are like, I can't believe that guy's letting his kid start that car. Well, I can't do both. I don't want him playing with the gas. So,
Right. That's awesome. What, Brad, let's kind of go towards your YouTube channel, because I've really enjoyed, like I said, DD Speed Shop. There's a few guys, I can't watch every show out there, but I have a few favorites, and I try to chime in and watch yours. And normally I'll get 3-4 episodes behind, then I binge watch while I'm driving somewhere or sitting at the desk doing paperwork. So Montana Garage, what prompted you to say, hey, I think I can do something and show people what I'm doing?
I really don't remember why I decided it. I thought it was a good idea to do this. I think I didn't even really, so I've been doing it, I think 2 years now or so, roughly, maybe a little more than 2 years since I first did my first YouTube video, maybe a little less than 2. Anyways, at the time, I didn't even really know that much about YouTube. I watched a lot of the Motor Trend, the David Freiberger and the Finnegan stuff. Somehow I got turned on to them. Like, I didn't even hear about roadkill till it was several years into, having shows. And so I think I probably followed them to YouTube to see more of that stuff. And somehow I found Finnegan's page. And then I think I found, of course, the Vice Grip Garage that everybody follows. And
I don't follow them. What are they talking about?
Such a liar.
And then DD Speed Shop, somehow I think I found him more on Instagram somehow. And I started following him on Instagram. And then he was just starting his channel, and he was asking people, hey, come follow my channel. And so I started following his channel, and then nothing bad about what Dan's does, but I think I kind of thought, well, if Dan can do this, I should be able to do this. Yep. Obviously, Dan does a lot better than me, but I think that's kind of what I was like, well, I think I'm going to try to do this. I have this car that I think people are interested in, at least old guys like it. Young kids just think it's a Hearst or something,
I wonder if it went like, DD's out there looking, well, if Peg can do it, I can do it. And then Brad's looking at DD like, well, if DD can do it, I can do it too.
Well,
so,
and
somehow I just got the idea, like I was going to give it a try. So,
well, and that's the thing that you got to remember. Anytime you're doing something like this, is if somebody else can figure it out, so can I. I mean, it's not that hard. So,
I mean,
we can all do it.
I just got my GoPro camera. I think I reached out to you, Brad, asked you which ones you had. I asked Dee, I said, which one do you have? I know I asked Joey, hey, which GoPro do you have? And so I got a GoPro because I'm like, God, I'm getting pretty good at making these 30-second reels on Instagram. I'm, my little phone app and doing it. And it's a total different deal as I try to start videoing myself doing this clutch conversion. It's like putting the camera, now I got to move the camera. And you really need almost 2 cameras sometimes just and splicing yourself. I'm seeing that because so far I have probably an hour of crap that I'm going to have to go through just to figure out what I'm doing. And so I give it to you because honestly, I probably thought the same thing that you did. And said, I can do this. Dan is doing it. Brad's doing it. Shit, I can do this. And I'm going to be honest. It might take you an hour to do something on the car, but when you're setting up the cameras and trying to do everything, now you're at 3 hours, and then you still have to go back and edit it to put that thing onto the show, bring in your intro, make a cool little picture click for clickbait on social media. And I give you hands down. I didn't know how hard it was to run a GoPro and actually try to wrench on something at the same time. And I have the function, I've got GoPro 9, and it's got the voice function so you can tell it to start or stop, by just giving it a command. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't shut off when you swear at it.
Just wait until you figure out that you can control it with your phone.
No, I've got that. I'm looking forward to cruise season because I can control it with the app on the phone, but I have it. So, GoPro capture, and it starts a video. And then of course I do something wrong. GoPro stop cap. And I just start F-bombing because I can't figure out how to shut the thing off. And I'm like, I just let it go.
Now just watch. Craig's going to have video on his GoPro because he's been saying GoPro capture, and it's going to have video in his background, back there in his office.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's not as easy as it looks. I give Brad credit on what he's doing because you make an entertaining thing. You bring in your cat, which, I'm not a cat person, but it's good to have the personality come in.
Neither am I, believe it or not. I became that cat's person. So I don't have any choice with that thing.
That's all right. It's a companion if you're out there in the garage by yourself. Now, How old are your kids, Brad?
So I have 2 kids. I got a 21-year-old daughter and 18-year-old son, just turned 18, senior. He's a senior in high school. My daughter's a junior in college. She's going to college out in Long Island, New York.
Wow, that's a long ways away.
Yeah, she's a soccer player, and they gave her a full ride scholarship to go play D1 soccer there. So that's how she.
Oh, very good.
Wasn't her first choice, but they're paying the bills, so that's where she went.
Right. Oh, that's cool. My daughter's 20. My daughter will be 21 in a couple of weeks. My son is going to be 18 in a month. So basically the same age kids.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being kid free in a little while.
Yeah, I hear that.
Now, have you indoctrinated your son into the cars, or has he got what's his thing?
Yeah, he's definitely into the cars, not to my extent. I would say he was maybe a little more when he was younger. Now he's a little older. So he's just busy like everybody else. But of course he's a teenager. So he's got a girlfriend and a job, and he plays sports. And so he doesn't have much time for that stuff. But I guess when I mentioned all the cars, we have an 83 Chevy Square Body. That's his truck.
Okay.
And that also was my dad's truck. That's the truck I drove when I took my driver's test in that thing, and now it's his. So we work on that. There's been a little bit of stuff on that on the channel, and there'll be more, but we're hoping to paint that this summer.
Isn't it weird?
I think when we're young, we all have. I think when we're all young, we have multiple things that are take our time away from hot rodding and everything. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true, and that happened with me. I've always been into hot rods, but I took several years. I mean, just having a family, I never got so far out of it that I sold my stuff. But for 5-10 years, my stuff just sat in the garage, and I didn't do anything with it. But at least I didn't sell it because I knew I wanted to get there someday.
My car was a shelf for about 6 years at my place. It was just somewhere to set the tools, set the fishing rods, and collect the dust. And it sat there, and I looked at it for a long time before I'm like, okay, it's time to do something. And like I said, even when my kids were young, it was a financial thing. I didn't have the money to start doing anything. And if I start something, I'm the kind of guy, I can't just, do one thing and walk away 2 years later, come back, do something else. I wanted to start it, get it driving, get it done. And so I certainly, the guys without kids don't understand that problem. I know that for sure.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where my 55 teardown started. I had it running and driving, and my son wanted to work on the car, and I didn't really have any money to go forward. And I was like, well, I want to take this apart and fix this someday. So we started up, went for a ride, and spun some donuts or whatever, came back and pulled the motor out. Not really sure how far I was going to go. One thing led to another, and next thing you know, every single nut and bolt is off that thing.
Well,
that's the way it usually goes.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're honest on your channel, Brad, because you're very personable. And like I've had people tell me, like, I can't believe you post up things that you break, or things you've done wrong. And I tell people, I said, well, I can't be the only one who does something stupid, and when I, break stuff, I got to fix it, and hopefully I can help somebody else, because I've gotten a tremendous amount of help from guys on the mob page and across Facebook to help me through stuff. And Joey knows, and Dan knows, I've talked to their ears off on parts. I broke this, or I need this. What do you think I should do? And it's part of what we do,
Right.
And that's been the best part of this journey. And here I am sitting on a podcast talking to people from all over the States right now. And I go, 5 years ago, I wouldn't even thought I'd be sitting at a computer, So that's the part. But I like your honesty, because we were grinding off. I remember the episode where you were cutting off the old transmission mounts off the frame, and your cut wheel went into the frame, and well, that happens. I'll just have to weld that back up later,
Right.
And I think, there's a couple other guys that commented, everybody's done that, and it's part of learning.
Yeah, I figure, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not going to say I don't edit out things that might make me look really, really stupid, but
I think we all have those times.
Like Craig said, if somebody watches it and somebody can learn from it, hopefully they could be a little bit entertained, but I'm trying to learn along the way. And like I said, try to show people that you don't have to know everything to do this stuff.
I mean, come on, we always put the flare nut on before we flare it every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of nuts, always make sure your intake ports and your exhaust ports are completely closed, because you never know when there's going to be a bolt that goes definitely horizontal.
And if you lose a nut, find it before you proceed. Don't just grab another one and throw it on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That reminds me of, Craig probably watched it. I don't know if any of you other guys did. I still have a missing mystery washer that may or may not be inside my engine. I still haven't found that.
Well, with those hill boards,
So-
I mean, those things will take anything.
Yeah.
So, Brad-
it's not in that one. It's in my small block Chevy. But
So, Brad, we got a question here on YouTube. Pirates Cove Garage wants to know what color interior is going to be in the 55.
well, that's Josh, and he knows that I can't decide he's watched enough to know that I can't decide colors on anything. So thanks for asking, Josh. But I guess maybe the interior I can answer. It'll probably just be black.
So so you must kind of be like my customer that has the 69 Chevelle that I've been working on. He changed through the process of doing the car. He changed his mind about the color about at least 10 or 15 times.
Yeah, I cannot make up my mind on a color. I think so. I've had that car since I was a sophomore in high school. So what is that? A long, long time. And it's just always been primer, you know. I've never had a car that's painted. And I guess I've just never realized I would ever get to that point. And maybe I still won't. So maybe that's why I'm having a hard time deciding. I mean, there's a lot of them I like. I was going to paint it red and white years ago when I was going to do it, but I'm kind of, for some reason I've shied away from that. And I just can't decide, I guess.
Primer.
Well, you could do it. What was that white color with and coral? I can't think of what that white color was called. That coral's kind of a orangish red,
Right?
With it's metallic.
It was an ivory, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to say it was kind of an ivory color. I forget what that white was, but you know, when they're all said and done with today's products, base clear, man, do they look a million times better than what they did way back when.
Yeah. If I'm honest, it'll probably end up being, it's been overdone, but just so I can do it and it'll be easy, maybe just hot rod black or flat black.
No.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not stoked about it, but that's just it may end up there just so it's not primer, so it's a little more protected and something I can do.
As a guy who has spent money, and I believe I have a decent paint job, Joey's got a good paint job. I haven't seen Dan's in person, but I'm assuming he sprayed it, so it's a decent paint job. I'm going to tell you, if I ever build another hot rod, doesn't matter if it's a Tri-5 or whatever it is, I'm thinking $38 a gallon Rust-Oleum satin black, because you scratch it, you ding it, you just walk over, you scuff it, smooth it out, and shoot another coat. You don't have to worry. There's a guy on Instagram or on Facebook, I'm sure we all seen, Alan Brown is his name. He's got a 55 Chevy Post, and he paints it like every other year because he just scuffs it down and shoots it fresh. When he's heading to nationals, he puts a fresh coat of black on it. And I kind of envy that a little bit. Like, how easy is that?
That's why I'm gonna vinyl wrap my car, because I know I'm gonna be going into a wall at some point.
You're just a big sponsorship with Doritos logos.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Orange wheels.
Montana Garage sponsorship just on the side of my car.
So
yeah, you can fly the sticker. I don't know if you're going to get any money. No.
Well, talking about flying some stickers, let me ask you some questions, because you talk on your channel a little bit or quite a bit about buying from your Amazon link. Can you explain that to people that are listening, how that works, and maybe a little hookup for you?
Yeah, I haven't spent too much time on it, but so I joined I'm an affiliate, as Amazon affiliate, which is just a matter of signing up for some stuff. And then, whenever I show, like most thing I do is my little flashlight, because I haven't done a lot of other stuff, but I have a link in the video description. If people click on that link and they buy it, then I get a little bit of a couple bucks commission. And not only that, but even if they don't want the flashlight, but they click the link and go through there and then buy whatever else they were going to buy, whatever people buy at Amazon, I don't buy much there. But, if you click that link, Craig, when you go to buy your light you were showing us at the beginning, then I would have got a commission on that, even though that's not the product I was showing.
I'm man enough to tell you it's my wife's Amazon account. So I don't have one yet, but
yeah.
And
that's what that's all about. And, if a guy was doing more videos and kind of having, the theory would be that I'm kind of reviewing products or whatever at some point maybe, and then it would drive a little more traffic.
Absolutely.
Just another way to make a little bit of money for the cars.
Now, have you been able to track any of your monetization for your channel yet, or is it still too soon in the infancy or the size?
Oh no, yeah, I'm monetized or whatever. It's so I get all sorts of graphs, and I get a check, or I get money every month. It's not a lot for a small channel like me. It's definitely not worth, like you were saying, how much extra time it takes moving the cameras and doing all the editing. So it definitely doesn't pay for my time at this point. But I enjoy doing it, so we'll keep trying for a while, I guess.
Well, and that's the key thing, is that you enjoy doing it and you have fun with it. So, I mean, that's the big thing you got to look at, is if it's something that you still enjoy doing, then, that's where it's worth it,
Yeah.
Does your wife ever watch the episodes?
Yeah, she watches them. I don't know if she watches them all or watches them all the time, but she watches them and offers a little feedback here and there.
I'll start offering feedback if you need some. I'm always good at.
Yeah, I'm open to feedback from anybody.
I can't do it. I cannot do it after buying a damn GoPro and trying to do this. I thought it would be a 2-day project, and it's turned into a nightmare of trying to move the camera around and do it. So of course, my project exploded on what I all needed to do to the car, but it's like trying to move it around so you get good lighting in a garage and underneath the car. It's not as easy as people think.
Yeah, and my lighting is horrible. I got windows all the way around, so I always have a glare. I need to get some shades out there or something. But one of the things that takes the most time is just, instead of just running out there and thinking I'm gonna spend 5 minutes sanding on this or whatever, I got to contemplate in my head, how am I going to turn this into the episode, or what part of it, how do I want to incorporate this? And so to me, and I guess maybe I'm a procrastinator, but it just makes it that much harder for me to go out there and get something done, because I'm trying to figure out and plan how I'm going to use it in the show. Or if I wasn't doing it, I could just go do it,
Absolutely. Very cool.
Sometimes it just kind of flows that way, when you're out there. You're just
and I need to be more just like you just said, Joey, just let it flow and just do what I'm doing, and that's what I try to do. But at some point, still, you got to sit there and do an introduction and talk about it, and it just I don't know, makes it take longer. But like I said, I enjoy it, so I have fun playing with it.
You've got good humor when you're introducing, and you're kind of, I guess, what do you call it, self-deprecating, because you're kind of rip on yourself a little bit but you're proving yourself wrong. And like I said, for people that are obviously somebody that's working at a top-notch restoration, they might watch it because they just like to watch what you're doing. They already know what they're doing. They've been well trained, and they've got all the top-notch snap-on tools, the Miller welders, everything like that. But for a guy like yourself, and even half of my tools are hand-me-downs. I'm in a single car garage, and I'm proud to have what I have. Don't get me wrong. But for the guys, I know Terry's watching, because Terry absolutely loves watching your channel. I'm watching his comments on here. We've got quite a few mob guys watching tonight. And so it's fun to see David Bacon. Even he always tell me what Brad's doing. If I haven't watched an episode,
speaking of that little short guy, he's asking what color are you going to paint the 55, Brad?
He knows I don't know the answer to that question. David, come on.
Well, there's David, the answer.
David will ask the same question.
I don't know. You guys got to give me some good ideas, I guess. I've done all the Googling. I've kind of thought about orange, and I've looked at the orange and the white and the orange and the black. And someday I'll have to decide, like I say, but I'm
going to be honest, Brad. I don't think you can decide till we see the stance on the car when it's down on its wheels and you're getting ready to go to that stage. Because to me, not knowing you or what you want for the car, everybody can do hot rod black, everybody can do primer, the original colors. But until I see a stance and what the attitude of what the car is going to be for you, I couldn't tell you what color it's going to be.
Yeah. It's just something I've just always had a hard time with, I guess.
It's the hardest. I've got wheels and tires. The wheels, tires, and the paint job are your hardest decisions on the car. And I could tell you, my friend Jim and I were driving around for, I don't know, maybe a month to car lots after work. We'd stop at car lots, and every time I passed a car lot, I would drive through looking at the different blues, and write down the model of the car, the type. And the first one I chose was, of course, a 2008 Viper bright blue. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. But it was $1,500 a gallon. And I'm like, no, that's not the color for me, So, and even when I had some spray outs finally done, it was actually taking the spray out piece of paper, bending it out in the sunlight to the shape of a fender, going, yep, that's my blue, and I knew it when I saw it. But that's the hardest thing. But I don't think until you get the stance, you're not going to know what the attitude you're going for, you know.
Yeah, hopefully that'll help.
Well-
I don't know. I will say that you
there's-
picked the right blue. I don't know what blue that is, but it's beautiful, Craig.
I could give you 100 descriptions. Most of the time, it's highly photoshopped Corvette 1998 bright blue.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Gives you an idea. Like, all right, my car, it's the green, and if you change the green to red, that's an idea of what give you somewhat of an idea what yours might look like.
Yeah.
I like the white top on it.
Yeah, the white top with the red. I mean, that look pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a million ways that look cool. I just got to figure out which one.
What's the power plant going to be in for your 55?
So the engine, it's the same engine I had in it back when I got the car from my dad. It's a small block 327. I blew it up a couple months after getting it from him, spun a bearing in it. And so I spent it. It takes a long time flipping burgers for like $3.35 an hour to make $3,000 to pay your machine shop bill. So it was tore apart for a couple of years when I did that, but I got it back together, So it's
Joey knows
nothing
about
special, but it's got high compression pistons and the camel hump heads and a good big cam in it, And
Is it four?
Are you kind of aging yourself there with saying 325 an hour?
I mean, if you can't tell by just looking at me how old I am, then I guess I help you with the aging part. Yeah.
Well,
I've been around a while.
So you got the full race cam, the double hump heads, all the good stuff.
All that stuff.
And you're
4-speed,
going with the
posi,
4-speed.
411 posi.
What rear end are you running?
Right now it's just got the stock, from the 55. Actually, that one's from a 57. I'm planning on putting a 4.9-inch in it. But
Good. What pinion angle are you going to run there?
0.973 degrees down.
There you go. Perfect.
But only on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, at least you don't have
calling you for that because you're going through all that right now. I hope you can help me get all that figured out, Craig.
I hope so, because I just want to be able to put the cover on it and relax on my days off.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you don't have to worry about him hagging on your flippers,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a
I don't want
plus.
to deal with any flippers.
The only thing I will ever rip you on is if I see it, is if that front bumper is not straight to the body line, I got to say something. There's a few guys on the mob that I keep my mouth shut, but I don't understand why guys that spend, and I'm talking good quality people. Yeah, I see your bump. You're a race car though, so it's been beat up, but
oh, thanks. I don't hit walls here.
Yeah.
I've seen these guys on Facebook Marketplace that are selling these Tri-Fives for $90,000, and the bumpers are crooked by an inch, and that just drives me nuts.
Yeah. So just take your bumpers off. They slow you down anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine probably won't have a front bumper, so I won't have to deal with that.
Heck, there we go. There we go.
Hey, what on that 57? What's that fuel tank made out of?
So right now I just have that little fuel tank in the front. It's just one of those aluminum moon tanks.
Is the actual moon tank?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How far you get on that thing?
Not very far. The furthest I've go into town a couple times. I can basically get into town and back, but we went to a car show a while ago and it was 8 miles, and I got there and I filled it up before I left, and I guess I just didn't think that wouldn't be enough, and I got about partway home and I ran out of gas.
Wow.
So I think it holds 5 gallons, and I'm sure I filled it up all the way. So, and that was just, I wasn't doing anything crazy, just putzing to the car show.
Does that car have a roll
Yeah.
cage?
It does have a roll cage. Yeah. It's not like roll bar. I mean, it's got like this, would it be a 8-point, I think. So it doesn't have door bars, or it has door bars, but no dash bars or anything in the front.
Oh, so it's like a main hoop and a halo, or is it just the main hoop in the back?
It's the main hoop with the back bar, for the behind the seats, and then
I gotcha.
some that go in the back, and then door bars that go across the door. So
Nice.
That'd be a
the main hoop has like 4 because there's some of it angled. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8-point.
Yeah, so that'd be
And it's
considered.
tough,
an 8
it's
there.
got a narrowed Ford 9-inch and disc brakes all the way around. Got like 13 gears in it.
Ooh. Now, did your
Well,
tires
that
are
would be
really
why
tall.
you don't make it much more than in and out of town on a couple, 2-3
Got a
gallons.
spool in it too, so I can't
6
push it in and out of the garage if I got to turn it.
613 gears. What are you in high gear? What are you doing? Like $5,000 to do 30 miles an hour, maybe?
It's not quite that bad, but It's meant to go, quarter miles as far as you got to go before you left the throttle.
Brad,
Right.
you got any like old time slips or stories about your uncle, what it used to run?
No, he used to just race it on the street. He never took it to a track.
Well, he never.
I guess the only stories
slip.
I have is it used to have just the old, I think it was like a Lakewood or some roll bar that was just behind the seat, and one bar, so it was like a single person roll bar.
Yep.
And it had these little notches scrubbed in it. You could tell
Nice.
it wasn't just like from rubbing on something. He had to sit there and notched it, and he told me that it was from all his races on the street. You put a little notch and scrape the paint off his roll bar, and there was a lot of them on there.
That's fun. My dad never raced at a track, but they built. My dad would say it was just stoplight to stoplights on Friday, and
Yeah.
American Graffiti, stop.
Yeah.
And I want to say my dad had it was a 301, basically a 283 punched out to a 301, and he was running I think it was a 488 rear end or something, it was pretty steep, but he say it was with that 3-speed that he had in there, it was dump it at $4,000 and you shifted at 8 and back to that was the fun back in the day. But obviously today with $5 a gallon gas, it wouldn't be very friendly.
$5 gallon gas. What are you talking about? My gas is like almost $10.80 a gallon.
Holy crap. Oh, race fuel?
Get you some E85. Pay that $3 a gallon.
Y'all's engines
E85.
run? Y'all's engines even run? Damn.
Yeah, mine runs.
Joe's
My
saving
shit.
money on gas right now, I guess.
Yeah, none of my shit ever runs.
I got to jump off of here. But
You don't have to
it
worry
was
about
always a
gas if your
pleasure.
engine sucks.
Yep. Thanks for being on here tonight, Joey.
See you,
Yeah, it's
Joey.
nice chatting with you, Joey. I love
Take
your
care,
car.
man. Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll talk soon.
Hey, Brad, I want to talk a little bit about kind of wrenching in the shop, kind of working on a lean, maybe not necessarily tool budget, but just lean tool inventory or just kind of bare minimums. What would you say are some of kind of the key tools to keep on deck for progress on, building cars, or at least building them to your style? What are some of your go-tos?
Well, I think the biggest thing, or the thing that really changed it for me that gives you the ability to do so much more, is just having a welder. I mean, once you get that welder, and of course you need a grinder and all the stuff that goes with it, but that it opens up the ability to be able to do so many more different things.
Are you on a 110 or a
anything real
220?
fancy,
What kind of
Sorry?
What kind of welder do you use?
So I have a Lincoln MT210. I think it's just it can do either 110 or 220, and it does MIG weld and stick weld.
Okay. So
Nothing
kind
real
of like
fancy, it's not just like a Home Depot machine. It's a little nicer than that, but my dad was a welder by trade. So he got, he picked it out for me. He said, if you're going to spend a little money, spend something on something decent.
Yeah.
And,
So I'm seeing, we've had this discussion in the past though, but in the past, maybe 5 years, 10 years, electric tools have come a long way, kind of like the power tools and cordless varieties and stuff. Are you still using a lot of air tools, or have you kind of migrated your equipment?
Yeah, I guess I've never used a lot of air tools. I guess for bodywork stuff, sanders and stuff, I got air tools for that, but I've just never been big on the air ratchets and stuff. I have them, but to me, it takes more time to dig them out and get them hooked up. And I guess I'm just not in the habit of using them. But and even so much with the electric, drills or impacts or whatever, I'm mostly a hand tool guy. Sometimes if I think about it, I'll grab my impact if it's handy.
So what's your
on or off? But I'm just not used to doing it that way, because when I used to work on them so much, all we had was hand tools. And so I don't think about it unless I'm running a bolt that's like forever. And it's like, I guess I could do this the smart way for a change.
just keep a 9/16 in your pocket?
Yep, pretty much.
What's your lifts and everything are obviously nice, but most of us don't have lifts. What's your strategy for getting up under the car and doing work there? Do you have kind of a certain ritual or method, or
Yeah, nothing special. I just try to be safe. I just lift it up and I got jack stands and try to make
Harbor
sure I'm
Freight
blocked
jack
up
stands?
everywhere. What's it, Harbor Freight? No, they're not Harbor Freight.
Okay.
Hey, here's a question for
no
everyone.
Harbor Freight jacks either.
Nope.
Question for everyone, and Craig doesn't count because he's going to say wheel cribs. Where are y'all putting y'all's jack stands under these cars?
Under the axle tube and under the control arms.
Yeah, axle tubes I have the mine jacked up in the front a lot. Just I use the front frame horns or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to make some wheel cribs like Craig made. That would be handy to get up in the air a little higher.
I'm absolutely loving my wheel cribs because it gives me 15 inches under the tire and I've got a lot of room. But back to Joe's comment, when I use my Harbor Freight jack stands, not the recalled ones, the new ones that are safe, and I put the car up with my Harbor Freight Pittsburgh 2.5 ton jack. Okay, just get that out of the way. I'm all Harbor Freight.
Snap-on knockoff.
Yep. And so I get it up, but I do when I use the jack stands, I put it under the control arms, and then it depends on what I'm doing with the car for the rear end, because if I got to work on the rear end, I put it under the frame right before the pocket kit starts on the leafs, or I do go under the rear axle if I'm just getting it up in the air. Very important.
Y'all ever seen how much our frames bend when you get a jack stand under the front part of the frame?
How do you think I fit fenders on some cars that I can't close the gap at the bottom? Put a jack stand underneath the cowl, let that nose drop down, and then you can bolt them fenders up nice and tight right at the back, and it's problem solved.
Let them creak as you put it back on the weight.
Joel, let me tell you, as I was new to the game 4 or 5 years ago, so I get my car back from the body shop, I'm putting it all together, and I've got my flippers in, which you guys don't know about, but I've got them in and working perfect, and I'm very proud of myself. So the first time I've got everything going on this car, the glass is in, I got to get it up, and I've got it jacked up. Well, if you jack everything up by the frame, it stays right. But if you do one end by the frame, and the other end by the suspension, the hardtop will flex a little bit, right? So there I am. I open my door. My flippers don't want to work, and my doors are almost hitting in it.
So you're saying your car is flimsy?
Yeah, you could just get a post. I mean,
right. I mean, so hey, at least we got a post. We don't have to worry about it being flimsy.
No, I'm panicking. I'm panicking in the middle of the day here. I'm going, what is happening? What did I do wrong? I call Brian Machad, a guy in the mob, and I've been dealing with for years. Brian, this is what's going on. I'm live video, and he goes, dude, do yourself a favor. Don't open the doors. He says, just put your rear end back under on the frame or match what it's doing in the front, right? Because I had suspension in the front and I had frame in the back. He says, move your jacks to your axles. So I did that. By God, everything went back to where it was supposed to be. So there's a lot of flex in these bodies. And that, I'm not going to lie to you, I was scared like I messed something up permanently.
Well, do you know actually how to adjust the doors like per the manual? One of them, I mean, you're flexing the firewall like with shims.
Yep.
Like that like blew me away when it was like bend the firewall to get your door to line up. I was like, hey, it works.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of little tricks that the old guys that I've learned from. And you know, when I got it back from the body shop, it wasn't aligned that as good as it should have been. I had another body guy who just does restorations. He came over and we loosened up all the body mounts, and this guy brings a porter power with him. And keep in mind, I don't know what he's doing. And as he's putting the porter power underneath the car to move the body over 1/8 of an inch and, line stuff, I had to walk out because I'm thinking about a $15,000, $20,000 body job that's going to get wrecked here because this guy's moving stuff around. I had no idea what he was doing, but he did a great job and stuff. So just watching it done, I'm the type of guy, if I can watch it one time, I can do it. And that's like going back to Brad's channel. When I had leaf spring problems last summer, and I needed pocket questions and leaves, and I think I even reached out to you, Brad, to get me a couple pictures of your pocket kit, and because I wanted to check a couple measurements on things. I was back watching Brad's channel when he was putting in the pocket kits and learning the measurements as he was doing it, because I had to double check some stuff on mine as I had to get new springs and things reworked. And that's the educational part that you can't, there's an entertainment value to what you do, Brad, but you can't forget the educational part that you help other people. And
yeah, I hope to try to help other people a little bit, but I just figure, like I said, I'm not trying to make people think I know everything or whatever, and trying to, say, this is how you have to do it. I'm just like, this is how I'm doing it. Hopefully it works.
Well, let's point in case we had a few discussions, and I know you battled. Let's talk about your Phytech fuel injection from DD Speed Shop.
Oh yeah, that thing got the best of me.
Now, is it running pretty decent now?
Yeah, I haven't got it back out since, or for the spring or whatever. It's parked behind my shop and a couple trailers in the way, so I haven't got it out yet. But when I put it away, it was. So fingers crossed, it still will be. But
I am told that I haven't had a problem with mine since I first got it going, and I was lucky enough. We got it running in my garage, and I had a shop locally that gets the first initial tune on it for me, and they taught me values on different things. Then of course I follow the forum pages on, you know, acceleration pump and all that kind of stuff. And the most important thing is your installation and your voltage, because I know you were having a lot of voltage drops.
Yeah.
And so do you think after, if it starts up this spring and you get, say, a summer of driving and messing around in the car, do you think you would ever touch another system like that, whether Phytech or Holly or something?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm definitely interested in it. I mean, I struggled with that one, and really, I don't think it was anything me or even Dan that installed it did wrong. It just the computer itself went out, you know, at some point. So it just became a head scratcher trying to figure out why. And until they could help me, you know, I didn't really know what was going on. But
yeah,
I'm actually considering if I drive it this summer and it works well, I might put it on the 55.
Sure. I've helped. I try to help anybody I can and share my data logs or my screenshots of what I've got for settings. And I know that the last 2 winters that I've had it put away, I've started it about every 4 weeks, and you know, to let fresh gas come through, get it up to temperature, and shut it down. This winter, because I've had it up on the wheel cribs, I haven't done that. And I've heard that's when some guys have problems because of the ethanol and the gas and stuff, especially more, it's a little more critical with the fuel injection to keep things going. So I'm hoping that I don't have an issue come this, you know, this spring when I turn it over.
Yeah, we'll be in the same boat, because I haven't started mine for probably 3 months or so, at least I would think, since I put it back.
Yeah, I'm going on. Well, I parked it in November when the throttle cable frayed on me, because that's another word to the wise. I tell people, I went with the cheap knockoff pedal instead of the real low car pedal and cable, and it's always had a little bit of free play and wiggle compared to low car, but the cable frayed and basically stuck me at one point with a 4,700 RPM cruise control. And I was able to get it down to about 2,700. I was out with my daughter for a nice fall cruise. So I said, I think we got to head back to the house, because driving it was okay. I avoided most stop signs and stop lights and ran the other ones I couldn't avoid. But pulling up to the garage and putting in the garage with that kind of RPM was not very much.
You're like staging. You're bumping into your own garage.
Well, yeah, because 2,700 RPM in overdrive for me is over 100 miles an hour. You know, or close to 100 miles an hour in fifth gear. So I'm in first gear, and that 2,700 RPM is still a pretty good little click along. Oh, yeah. So, you know, it's fun, you know, like I said, but I'm learning. So now I got to pull off the gas pedal and put that in. And those are things I'd like to video, but I keep thinking to myself, no, I want to get it done in an hour. I don't want to spend a day changing out the pedal and the cable and all the mistakes I'll have and swear words that I don't have an app that takes swear words out. So I got to constantly keep, you know, retaking stuff. But I learned from you, Brad, and I enjoy the aspect. I know, like, the other guys on the mob that do watch it, even we can kid about David Bacon, but he's true Tri-5 guy that loves watching your stuff. And Terry Bledsoe watches continually. And I know I do. And I saw that Dan from DD Speed Shop was watching earlier. So, you know, hopefully we didn't say anything to upset him, you know, but I think it would be cool. And I say this, and this might not be the year with gas prices where they're at, but I like to have everybody come for back to the 50s here, because I know it's a straight shot on 94 for you. And I know DD Speed Shop, he's only about 8 hours away. And I know he's talked about it. And I go, it's just fun to get together and see all the people that you get to meet through the internet, you know?
Yeah, I'd like to do it sometime, and maybe this year will be the year. You know, I talked about trying to do that Rocky Mountain Race Week, but you know, I kind of had some financial things, so there's no way that's happening. And I know that's not fun. That's only a couple of weeks after that, so who knows? I probably won't have it together by then. But I do have a room reserved at Nationals, so maybe I'll make it down there. But
I mean, there's two.
That's a long ways and a lot of gas, you know.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing is, you know, even for me to go to Nationals right now. My personal business is a little slow compared to where it's been the last few years. And I look at going, well, that's 12 hours of driving in a truck, pulling the Chevy at 10 miles to the gallon, you know, and all of a sudden I'm spending $800 just on fuel there and back to go to it. And that starts to get a little tight on the budget, you know? Yeah.
Then you think about that's the, you know, my wheels I'm waiting for. I can't afford. I could do that instead of go, you know, buy that gas, you know, so.
Yep.
But I do want to get it together and, you know, go to one of these big things and meet all you guys one of these days for sure. So hopefully it'll happen sooner or later.
I'll tell you and Brad, you'd be amazed because I would probably say that Nationals has 3,000, 3,500 cars. And you'd probably be surprised how many people have heard of Montana Garage just because it's the Tri-5 world. Everybody's probably at least seen one episode. And if you were to show up with that, your 55 or your 57 and got the decal on the side, you'd be amazed how many people come up, because even I've said this story to these guys a few times. I was not having a good time at Nationals because my car was hurt in the rear end and I knew it, but I was just taking it easy. And it was 95 degrees, humid. The car wants to overheat. And this little Honda pulls up beside me and the guy says, "Hey." And so I look out the window and I think he's just going to say nice car. And he's like, "Aren't you the guy from the Tri-5 podcast?"
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, I go, "What? You're one of our 3 watchers?" And so I hand him some decals and he says, "No, that's the reason we're at the Nationals. We saw it on the podcast you were talking about. So we came up." I think he was from Tennessee, like Nashville area. And so he came up, and the best part of the story is I go, "It felt pretty good." But I looked at my kid and my kid was looking at me for like 5 minutes, just wasn't blinking. And I looked at my son, I go, "What?" He goes, "You're famous."
Famous? How famous?
And I go, it feels pretty good. And especially guys that have been like Joey, who was on he knows, like when we went to Nationals, I'm sitting there by the car and I just want to talk to mob guys and everybody off of Instagram and Facebook that recognizes you or the car, they come by. You got to be nice. They want to talk to you. And it's cool. You're going to experience that. You show up and you put out something like, "Hey, this is Brad from Montana Garage." You tell people you're going to be there. You'd be amazed how many people are going to know you and just come up and want to talk and look at the car because they've seen your episodes.
Yeah, at least like you say, one or two or three, like you said.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh, a lot of them. David Bacon, he'll be at your side all day long.
David's cool. Awesome. He's super helpful. Anytime I got something going on, I know I can count on David to offer some advice and help me out.
I say it jokingly because I talk to David often, and I like David. And when I was having the issue of that little bracket for my reservoir, that honestly delayed me 2 months for putting in that clutch because I didn't want to drill holes into the firewall where I had to, and everything was in the way where it should go. And I couldn't think of what to do. And I was literally going to mount it in the wrong spot, way too high up on that inner cowl area of the underneath the hood. And he's like, "Hey, you big dummy, you got a welder, make a bracket." And it was just that instant, like, yeah, I can do this, because I kept thinking bracket, I'd have to have somebody take a metal brake and bend me something to look right. And it didn't take that much. I mean, an hour later, I had a bracket welded up and made. And I was like, I owe that to David because he just was that little bit of simple stupidity of just saying, "Hey, stupid, this is all you got to do." And it's like, that's all I needed was a kick in the butt to move along.
Yeah.
Well, we got 2 comments. We got 2 comments out on YouTube that 2 guys say that they're going to Nationals this year to win the giveaway car. One is Terry and one is Randy's 57, and he's out. He made the long haul from California. He said it took him $3,500 to pull from California.
Wow.
No thanks. They can have that. I actually talked to Curry Enterprises today because I call them and I talked to Phil out there.
Are we all laughing at Chris Dixon's comment?
Oh, what did we say?
I won't say it out there.
Good job, Chris. No, I called up Curry today because there's always 100 opinions, and I'm unfortunately a guy that asks questions because as I ask one person, I want 10 people's opinions on what to fix or how to do it. But I called.
Oh, you're an asshole.
Yep, I am. I talked to Phil out there, and I talked to him last fall also, and about pinion angle, because I have leaf springs and traction bars now, and I wanted his opinion because I know where I'm at right now. I wanted to know which direction I need to go and how far. And he basically backed up about 4 out of 5 other guys I talked to on how many degree of shim I needed. But he had such a great conversation, and he goes, we might have high gas prices. He says, we might not have the best political atmosphere or too many homeless. He says, but I get to drive my car all year round in Southern California. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sitting here looking out my window at snowflakes and salt on the road. I'm just thinking, you bugger,
Yeah, there's a reason all those people live out there, I guess.
Now, Brad,
You could just put a snowplow on the front. I know a guy that did that.
yeah,
It's been known to
I
happen.
like that.
Wasn't there somebody we saw had a like it was on a K5 chassis and it had a snowplow on the front of it?
Well,
Somewhere pictures floating around the internet.
yeah, there's a few pictures of that, but I think it was a year or two ago. I made a comment on the mod page because I posted up. It was a picture of a '69 Camaro that was really nicely done, and this guy was out driving in the salty roads with it. And I see it every occasion. Like these guys don't know about the salt getting in the crevices and the rockers and places you can't wash it out. And Dee saw this, and he just had put his plow on his 55 last year, and he goes, some people, and it was like in quotes, and I knew exactly what he was referring to. And he goes, some people don't think you should drive your cars in crappy, salty weather. And there he is out with a plow and salt and everything else. But it's, I get it, because if I had the money to have an extra car in that condition, I'd throw a plow on it for fun. That's okay. And that's the best part about all of this is we all do our own thing to our cars. And it's kind of like I treat it like wives. I mean, I won't insult anybody's girlfriend. I don't want to insult their car. It's the way it is.
Yep.
And there are some, don't get me wrong. I was arguing, I'm not on Facebook at the moment. I've got 27 more days and Facebook vacation. I don't call it Facebook jail anymore. I've been here enough where I can relax.
It's like you're on vacation a lot.
And this one, honestly, I even screenshotted. This is how ridiculous it was, because I was talking about it on a Tri-5 page. The guy said he had a hardtop sedan. I says, no, you just have a hardtop. He goes, no, it's a sedan too. And so I put up a picture of my car. I said, no, this is a hardtop. And then I put up the picture from the GM factory, the description of all the body models, right? He goes, no, your car is a sedan. He says, sedans have 3 compartments: engine compartment, occupancy compartment, and a luggage compartment. And he shows a picture of like a Prius. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I said, I get what you're saying. I know what the dictionary says, but that's not Tri-5 lingo. So I posted something on the mob page, and a little screenshot. I said, and a guy on the mob page, Mike McCleary, says, and made a comment. I said, yeah, sometimes you just want to reach through and strangle people. Boom. I was in Facebook vacation right there for inciting violence. And I said, I just looked at it and I'm like, you got to be kidding. So I've basically been laughing for 3 days because I have not spent an April out of Facebook jail in 4 years. And I go, I can't win, because it was simply taken out of context, right? It was just, 2 guys chatting. I didn't threaten anybody or nothing. It's just, sometimes you want to strangle someone. So there's words you can use and words you can't use.
Right.
And out of everything that I do say on there, that's probably the least offensive thing that a guy could say on anything. I'm like, so I just laugh. You just got to laugh at it and shake it out, because it is at the end of the day, it's a free forum that we get to meet each other. Let's face it. Without Facebook, YouTube wouldn't be as big as it is today, because they cross-pollinate each other.
Yeah.
And without Facebook, us 4 probably would never meet. And I've got right now, if I've at the height of of doing the mob page, especially in the summer, there might be 300 guys on there, but there's days that go by where I get 60, 70 messages to try to reply to, because people just have a question or they want to send me a fun picture or a comment on something. And it's a busy day.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, I'm sure that you get some mail too, going to Montana Garage, and comments that you got to try to chime in. And it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all that for sure. I do want to say back to kind of what you were saying about learning stuff and other people being helpful. That's one of the biggest things I do like about this little YouTube adventure I'm on or whatever, just all the cool people I've met and the willingness of people. We were talking about David Bacon helping you or whatever. That's what made me think about is everybody. I mean, you get the a-holes or whatever too, but most people, they're just more than willing to chime in and send a message and offer advice. And, well, you could try it like this or do it like this. Or, I mean, I've had people send me tools and all kinds of crazy stuff. It baffles me, but it's just cool. The coolest thing, I guess, is all the help and kind of the little YouTube family that are all the friends that I've made. I have more friends on YouTube than I have, at home here or whatever.
Yep.
So it's definitely cool as far as that goes.
I think we all fall into that after a while. And, starting Instagram, like, I'm not out there to get 5,000 followers. If somebody follows me, cool. I'm not doing stuff just to create content or anything, because it takes time, right? I find it
for sure.
I think it's an awesome hobby, because I grew up well, you and I are the same age basically, you know, but I grew up where we didn't take family pictures but twice a year. We didn't walk around with cameras. So there's a lot of things that I don't, you know, remember. I remember, but I have no proof of anything because we don't. And so now everything's documented all the time. And I said, I think that's the best part about for me with Instagram, besides getting in touch with people, but it's a mobile device to go back and look at memories for the last 3 years of pictures or sharing stuff and learning stuff. And, you know, like even Joe was on the Tri-Fi forum and he referred some guy to me because he's got Malwood clutch pedal questions that he wants to ask me on how I'm doing on mine. And that's what it's about, is helping. And don't get me wrong, I've had the bad day where you kind of just want to tell people to go away. But at the end of the day, when I've had problems, man, so many people have jumped up to help me in the past. And I mean, I'll talk, you know, when I was looking for a clutch pedal assembly, the whole brake and clutch pedal, mine was too rotted to use. And there was a guy on the mod page. He goes, "Hey, I got one." He said he went and pulled one out of his car. It was like 10 below zero, and he was out wrenching and pulling it out of the weeds. And I got it from him. And at the end of the day, that means a lot when people do that, you know?
Yeah, sure does.
I know that I've talked to you before, and I know I haven't touched base because I've got a lot of extra older parts that you probably good quality for what you're wanting to do. And I haven't forgot. I just got a pile. I got to get to it yet, you know, get stuff going.
Yeah.
But it's about sharing, and it's, you know, I've sent a lot of stuff to people for no charge. I hear, "Oh, you need the ashtray? Here, take it. I don't need it. Just pay the shipping, whatever," you know. And even sending stickers out and doing all that stuff, it's fun. And, you know, sometimes it costs a little bit. By the way, I don't think any three of you have bought any decals for the sticker competition.
I'm getting
Guilty.
there.
I haven't. I've thought about it.
I'm guilty.
I need to.
If you can,
I can't think of any place cool to stick them, but I'll get some and figure something.
I'm sure you could find a wild elk that needs one on its antlers that you could wrestle.
Maybe I'll go to Yellowstone and try to stick one on a bison or a grizzly bear, and I can get on national news getting mauled. I'd probably win the contest at least.
Well, and see, that's what I tell people, because I've always got 6 of them in my wallet, right? And so, like, it was a couple years ago, we went to Arizona with the family, and I stuck one on the outside of the Delta plane as I was loading. and it was in Arizona. I got back to Minneapolis and it was actually still on the airplane. I'm like, that's a good decal right there.
There you go.
You know?
Good airplane.
Yeah, you know, I held it together with the sticker, right? But it's the fun of meeting. And honestly, Brad, it's, you know, between us 4 and Joey was here, everybody, it's fun just to be able to meet people that, like, when I've talked to Joey for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. And when I finally met him at Nationals, it's like we're already friends. We're already brothers. You know, there was nothing surprising. And I can tell the story 1,000 times because I'm 6'5". Joey is not. Okay. So
we'll just say he's not. Huh?
No. And so as I was getting out of my car, he's like, "Hey, Craig, Joey Truelove." And I was sitting eye to eye with him and he was standing beside me. And that was the biggest shocker. And I don't mean this to demean him because he's not here, but it was he's large. He's got big shoulders and he's a cowboy from Texas, right? I pictured a 300-pound dude. No, it was, you know, Joey's 5'8", maybe 5'6", 7, 8, somewhere in there. I don't know. But I was like, that was a shocker because all we ever see from people is here up.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you get to actually meet people in person and see, you know, their size and just put the voice to the face, I mean, that's the best part, you know.
I think he's got probably one of the tallest dyno graphs in the group right now, though. I don't know if you've seen his latest stuff.
Yeah. And I can't share the real secrets because it's going to keep going up. Right. But I mean, he's at, you know, only 20 pounds of boost, and he's already
through a loose converter.
You know, he's got what 1200 horsepower with the rear tires or whatever, you know, somewhere right in that neighborhood. And I think he's going to push it upwards of 30 and see where she flies from there. So it's
that he's not at racing.
Speaking of dynagraphs, I'm not afraid to show mine here. You know.
Oh, nice torque curve, bro.
Oh yeah, it's just straight up there. You know, even goes.
Is that on your LKQ block?
Well, I can't give up all my secrets, but it goes on off the graph. The dyno couldn't hold all the horsepowers.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
jumped right off the roller.
You know,
they were measuring it in unicorn power. Actually.
I have a video of my dyno, and when it was you know, and it's nothing great. I got 515 at the crank, which is good enough for what I got, you know. But it's funny because when I first started thinking about building the car 12 years ago, it's got to have 400 horsepower. Then I start building, it's got to have 500 horsepower. And now that's a starting point for most of these guys on these pages. Like this ridiculous amount of horsepower, these guys are 750 plus all day long. And I go, I don't know if I think I could handle some of it, but it's like, I don't need that. I'm just cruising with my arm out looking cool in the hardtop,
I mean, that's the problem with boost though. Like you build an engine to run on like 10 pounds and then 15 will be fine for one day. And the next thing you know, you're throwing 20, 25 PSI on stock bottom end.
I'm going to throw a shout out too, because I just see we got Fiano Guzzo's watching, who's the Tri-5 guy. He's got a channel also. He watches Brad. And Fiano is one of those guys that when I was trying to figure out where to mount my reservoir for the hydraulic cylinder or hydraulic clutch, I called him because I know he's done a lot of in-depth cutting of parts. And he sent me some awesome pictures because where I was thinking of drilling it, he was telling me, well, here's where to put the screws on where the cowl comes down to the firewall. And so I gave a shout out. I didn't end up doing it, but I was going to use his advice when I did it. But then I chickened out because I didn't want to drill the blue paint. So that's all right.
Yeah, Fiano sent me some help on some things too, I think. So
yep.
one of those guys that watches and appreciate it. Thanks, Fiano.
Hey, Brad, have you ever considered or maybe you already do you ever do any like live videos of you?
I've only done one. I did one time. I had a giveaway to do. And so I felt like I had something to talk about. So I need to do kind of plan on doing some more or getting started at that again, but I just haven't.
I was there. I was watching.
I feel
like that's a cool thing for everybody involved because one, it cuts down on your editing, and two, I mean, we kind of did that here. I basically was taught body work by Daniel himself, doing kind of a live video. I learned a ton on that. So I think there's a lot of value in doing live stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right. I need to watch the live replay of that, Daniel, so I can learn too, I guess.
Well, hey, you got questions anytime, you just give me a holler. You know how to get a hold of me, and I can send you my number. You can call me.
Cool.
Daniel's got the patience of a saint.
The bodywork stage someday.
Yeah, but I did body work this weekend, just a little bit. And who was the first person to criticize? I said, my daughter got this Ford Focus, had paint peeling on the front of the hood from rock chips. So I sanded it down. I put some rust converter on it. I primed it. I put a little shot of red paint to blend in. And then I masked off like the top inch of it and did like a bed liner spray to it. So it looks like a bug guard. It's all, I'm not going to paint the whole hood. What's the first thing Dan says? Yeah, it'll rust in 6 months.
Well, hey, you want me to lie or you want me to be honest?
Oh, well. So, but Brad, it's been awesome getting.
But it looked good for 6 months.
It's been awesome getting to know you, Brad. I know we're pushing over an hour here, and I know it's still early for you out there, but like I said, it's awesome. I push as much stuff on the page as you can. Every time you got an episode, throw something up there for people to watch, because I truly think there's a lot of people, especially on Facebook. People are getting tired of a lot of the things on Facebook, and I'm guilty of it too. And so people don't check in as often, or they forget things, right? And right. I'll go 2-3 weeks without looking at YouTube and go, oh my God, I haven't seen Brad's last 3 episodes. And then I binge watch them, and I try to leave a comment when I can, if I'm not driving, when I'm listening to it and stuff. But honestly,
I don't condone watching while driving. I appreciate you watching, but I don't know about while you're driving.
I'm pretty good at it, because I just do quick glances, but right. It passes the time, because I remember driving back from Nationals was 12 hours. And I think I caught up on like 6 months of Montana Garage all in the ride back. And I watched Fiano's, the Tri-5 guy. He's doing awesome stuff. And I give you kudos too, because I never talked to you face to face necessarily like this. I think we did one chat one time, but truly it sounds so stupid, but this logo, truly, if anybody knows anything, I either wear a green shirt because that's my work shirt, or I wear mob gear. And I truly love the fact that every time I turn on, you've got the sweatshirt on. And it's like, I show my friends, like when I'm out and about, I said, hey, check out this guy's YouTube channel. Look at that shirt. He goes, and everybody's, oh, that's pretty cool. Where's he at? I go, he's in Montana. How do you get your shirt? I don't even have one. I'm like, well, you're not in the mob, but I go, it truly touches me to the fact that I appreciate people. I don't do it it's not there to make money. I'm giving the stuff away at like $1 profit to shirt, because you got to make something on Teespring, and now thank you, we're getting taxed on all this stuff, right? And so, but I go, when I see somebody in Fiano's shirts, and when I see people out there doing stuff and my gear shows up, I think it's awesome, so I just want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate being part of the mob, and I talked about people helping me to guys in the mob have been the most help. So I'm glad to wear it and glad to be part of it. So I appreciate you guys letting me part of it.
Y'all go check out his page, Montana Garage.
Montana Garage on YouTube. I just watched, you had a premiered paint video last night, right?
Yep.
I watched
So
it
premiered
today.
last night, still there, obviously.
I was consumed putting my parts on the car, so I watched it today, you know,
Nice,
and
thanks.
it's good stuff, and you're doing good. And the best part is when you make mistakes, you own it and you overcome it and you laugh at yourself a little bit, if that makes sense to people, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
awesome. Thanks for being on here tonight, Brad. I appreciate it. Thank you again, Craig and Joe, and also Joey for being here. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and tuning in, watching with us. So until next time, we'll catch you later.
All right. Good
Thanks,
night,
Daniel.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks for tuning in to Try 5 Talk with your hosts Daniel Check, Craig Westfenning, Joey Truelove, and a special thank you for our background designer Chad Reynolds, and a special thank you as well for our production analyst Joe Miller. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next time.